So, welcome back to the Evidence Show. You'll notice that things look a little different today. Thank you for being here. We're going to get rolling right now, but I always start the show with the same two messages. One is just encouragement for folks to check out the Facebook community forum for evidence managers. That's a great resource that you can use to your advantage. It's specifically designed for evidence custodians and evidence managers to have a place to connect on the Facebook. And I think there are 660 folks participating in that. And the cool thing is you can go there and find answers to questions that if you're remote and don't necessarily have someone right up the street to talk to about your particular issues, or just want to see how they're doing it in a different part of the country, that is a great place to connect. So we've been doing that since the beginning of the pandemic, and there's no reason to stop. So the other thing I usually say or start off with is a shout out to Tracker Products, because they've kept the lights on for me for about the last 3 years. And today we're sitting at the table with Tracker Products. Now, he is not Tracker Products, but this is Ben Townsend.
My shirt is Tracker Products.
Say hello, Ben.
Hello, Shawn.
Ben is the boss of Tracker Products. What title do you want to use? CEO?
I usually use Director of Janitorial Services.
All right.
I think that's the title that best fits.
Well, then we'll go with that. So Ben is the Director of Janitorial Services at Tracker Products. They are a software company, and I think everyone that has ever tuned into this knows that, again, they keep the lights on for me. We formed a partnership 3 years ago, and we like the trajectory of it. So I haven't had Ben on here on the show to talk about evidence management technology. So I thought, hey, why not now? We were supposed to be meeting up here anyways in beautiful Cincinnati. And if you'll notice, the backdrop is different. We're talking about lunch, or talking about not letting technology eat your lunch. We just finished ours.
Yep.
I thought it would have been cool to let you watch us eat lunch, but that would have been kind of disgusting because I eat with my hands a lot. And but lunch is nevertheless what brought us here and why we're here today. So that is the subject. So I did want to shout out to Tracker Products, but I don't have to shout out too loudly because they're right here next to me. We have had nothing but technological difficulties setting up today. I'm not in my spacious cavernous studio back home. We're literally at Ben's lunch table.
Yep.
And so that has presented lots of fun problems, but that's neither here nor there. Can you see my next screen? Let's see. Hopefully that comes up. There's some latency and some lag.
Yep.
If you want to find out about what I do or what we're doing, you can look up evidencemanagement.com. Hopefully there are some resources there that will be useful to you and that you can use to help make you better. And I am getting some messages that the audio is cutting out. So if that continues to happen, we'll jettison the webcams and just go with audio only. So,
but I'll turn mine off and we'll see if that helps at all, and we'll just go with yours for the moment.
Is that any better? Well, now I'm self-conscious because
now you're the only one on the screen.
I don't want people to just look at that. That is a very tight shot.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, we'll move back. So check out our website. Yeah. Well, let's see. Let's just start where we left off. Thank you for staying tuned. I noticed that a lot of you hung with us through our technical difficulties. That was a test for you, but thanks for being here. So let's talk technology. And what an odd and ironic thing that we're talking about now that we're having so much problems with our technology. So what are we talking about today? Well, the concept for today was not letting technology eat your lunch. And literally today, technology has eaten our lunch. But we're not going to get stuck there because we don't want you to get stuck there. And that's where we're going to start. We're going to talk about where we get stuck related to technology. We're going to talk about the future of evidence management technology. We'll talk about a cool concept called a virtual regional lunch and learn, and we'll talk about the next time we show up here on the Evidence Show. So thanks for being with us. If you have questions, put them in the questions window. We will try to monitor that as long as it keeps working. And from what we see, people can hear it. So, that's gonna make me angry. This is also a lesson today in not using profanity. There we go. So one of the first things I wanted to talk about was literally with respect to lunch. We are in Cincinnati. I don't know if you know that. We might have mentioned it. But here in Cincinnati, there is a thing called Skyline Chili.
Fantastic.
It is an abomination. It is the absolute worst thing I've ever had when it comes to chili. Tell them about Skyline Chili, Ben.
I think it's really fantastic. But there's nothing against Texas chili either. I do enjoy Skyline Chili, and I grew up with it, so I like eating it. It's not an abomination to me, for sure.
Well, for those of you who have never been to Cincinnati to have their chili, and I'm biased. I literally last week I judged a CASI sanctioned chili cook-off finals because I love chili. The primary ingredient in Skyline Chili is cinnamon, which was horrible. It offended my senses greatly.
Yeah.
So actually, we're not talking about that, but I did want to just mention it because.
Okay. Do you have an opinion on the matter? I feel like people may not be exactly aware of how you feel about Skyline Chili.
Don't eat Skyline Chili. If you see it in a can anywhere, if you're driving in the Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky area, I'd encourage you to skip it.
I'm glad that's why things are not going so well today, because you came in with a bad attitude toward a local delicacy, and so that's why you're getting this.
One of the first times I met Ben, he took me to a Skyline Chili. And
they never gotten over it.
Yeah, they put their chili on top of spaghetti too. That should be another red flag.
Okay.
And I think they probably put beans in it, which is just an abomination.
Okay.
Everyone knows that the Lord did not allow beans in chili. So I got stuck there. I apologize. That was a little bit of a side path, but we want to talk a little bit about where we get stuck when it comes to evidence technology. So Ben and I have been through the tracker side, selling software and creating software, has seen a lot of the same things that I see from a consulting perspective and a training perspective, and as a user, we see a lot of different things go wrong. And when you see the same thing happen over and over and over again, there's a bit of a pattern there. What do you see, Ben? I'll let you talk.
Well, I mean, I've been watching it for 15 years. So in terms of technology, that's a long, long period of time to watch things change over the years. And so the reason we're even in this industry was because of a lack of technology. If 15 years ago when we got started and it wasn't an intent to get started. We got started because of a lack of technology. What we saw out there was what we thought at the time was old technology, and much of that old technology is now really, really old technology, or people are using pen and paper. Now, I'm glad to say I think there is certainly more technology in place today than there was 15 years ago, but I still will stand by this statement. I believe most evidence rooms are as far behind on technology as any area in the police department. Can't explain it. Don't know why that is that way. It is, for whatever reason, many evidence rooms are simply like antiquated. I felt like it was antiquated 15 years ago.
And you got to also factor in, I mean, law enforcement in general, not just in the evidence room, but law enforcement traditionally are late adopters of technology. That's been the case for years. I mean, take digital photographs, for example. I mean, it wasn't until just a few years ago that most courts from where I'm from started taking judicial notice and allowed digital photographs to be introduced as evidence. That's all there is now. There is no film camera evidence at all. So it's all digital now. But that took years, literally years after digital photography became the standard for law enforcement to adopt it. So it doesn't surprise me that evidence rooms are lagging behind the technology curve, because law enforcement lags behind the technology curve. A few areas where I see people getting stuck, and Ben, you can interject at any time, is I see evidence rooms trying to rely on technology that was not designed or intended for evidence rooms. Just use the RMS is something I hear a lot of folks contend with. And RMSs are great for records management. Don't get me wrong. CAD systems are great for dispatching calls, but evidence systems are a completely different animal. And that's why I want to have Ben on today to talk specifically about evidence management technology.
I think one of the problems there, what I've seen over the years, is that if you're in evidence management, you feel like you're in a specialized role. But for many departments, chiefs, sheriffs, whatever the case may be, they don't look at evidence management as a specialized role. And if it is just, hey, you just track evidence, just put a barcode on it, and there is no understanding of how specialized it needs to be, many people are tossed in some technology like an RMS, and they're stuck there. It doesn't do what they need it to do, because I would argue vehemently that you need a specialized product to accomplish the task that you need to do. Now, that's another problem. Most people don't really even understand how to convey that message to a police chief. It all starts with being able to convey what are the needs, and that this system right here will do what I need it to do, versus the RMS system, it can't do it. And so the other thing that I see a lot is a lot of people will make the argument, I don't want to do that, or I don't like that thing over there. And for many situations, they're just simply looking at it as, we're already paying for it, just use the technology that's there. It's critical that you're able to convey what a specialized evidence management product like ours will do. And, I think we're going to cover some of that here today, is what are those unique things, or what are the things that make you specialized at what you do? Because your ability to convey that may very well determine what technology system you're using.
And I think another kind of thing to just throw in there, a lot of systems will put barcodes on a label for you, but it's not just having a barcode that really is important. It's how do you manage your evidence? How does that, now, not just that barcode, the barcode's going to identify a piece of evidence, but how does your software help you automate workflows like intake and disposition? That's really, barcoding is pretty easy. You can put a barcode on any data string, any piece of information can have its own barcode. A lot of these records management systems, not to malign them, it's not their role or function, but all they really do to accommodate evidence is to produce a barcode number to put on a label. They don't help you with disposition. They don't help you with tasks. They don't help you with data or analytics. They don't help you with chain of custody, really. Bottom line, the most important thing about technology related to evidence is how does it protect and how does it create and generate and secure your chain of custody? Can you see everything that's happened to that item from cradle to grave, every time it's moved, every time it's been touched, every time it's been inventoried or audited? Those types of things just simply don't get captured in most records management systems, because they're not thinking about those issues. They're just thinking, I got to put a barcode on it. I need to know when it's in. I need to know when it's out. So we get stuck with incompatible technology. We get stuck with hardware that is not necessarily what we need to accomplish our jobs. And when I'm talking about that kind of hardware, there's still folks out there that are dealing with barcode scanners that are tethered to, Anchor style laptops or desktops for evidence management. And the biggest killer, the biggest Achilles heel that I'm seeing right now is in where your network is located. My agency, the agency I retired from, last year, maybe a year and a half, got hit with a ransomware attack. And that's one of the things that I'm seeing happen all across the country, where there are local or on-premise servers, people getting hammered by a malware attack, some kind of Trojan or a ransomware attack. And a lot of that happens on-prem servers. So I'm sure there are many other areas. We don't want to dwell on the problems, but the problems are manifold and the problems are commonplace. They happen all over the country. We see them over and over and over again. So we wanted to talk a little bit about not what's wrong with technology, but talk about where we see technology going in the next 5 to 10 years. And the reason I'm pausing is not because my audio is not working. I'm looking for that little button to move this screen forward.
Good space bar.
There we go. So let's talk a little bit about the future of evidence management technology. Now, right now, I want to talk to you about specifically the industry and where I see the industry going. And Ben, you can feel free to disagree with me. We disagree on a lot. We disagree on chili. We disagree on baseball. But we are usually pretty well in lockstep when it comes to technology. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I mean, just for full transparency, I bought their product 10, 12 years ago when it was an entirely different product. I looked across the market and I wanted to solve the problems for my agency, and I thought that theirs did the best at solving my problems. And ultimately, that's really what you're looking for. Is I want somebody to solve my problem. But now when I look at the industry from a different perspective, I teach across the country, I do consulting work, and I'm kind of looking for the next big thing. And I think that there are three different elements, three different areas that are going to become the future of the industry. One is mobile applications, apps. I think in the not too distant future that most evidence management tasks are going to happen on telephones. And I don't mean corded telephones like I had when I was a child. I mean iPhones or whatever phones aren't iPhones. What's the name of a phone that's not an iPhone?
Android.
An Android. Okay, yeah. I don't even know.
I'm glad I'm here to help you with your technology.
I don't even know what that kind of phone would be, because I've had an iPhone since the first iPhone. But mobile technology, the big hang-up or the big holdback for mobile technology historically has been computing power. And now with the types of chips that they're putting into these mobile phones, their processing power is just vast. It's incredible. And then you look at the types of things that held us back from an input point, like the barcode scanners. The barcode scanning engines on mobile phones, the cameras on mobile phones are so much faster, so much more responsive than they were 5 years ago, 10 years ago. 3 years ago, probably wouldn't have made sense to try to do an inventory with a cell phone barcode scanner. I don't know that it makes sense today to do that on a large scale. But I think 5 years from now, everything is going to be app-based, and it's going to be faster than we've ever done it before. What would you say, Ben?
Well, what I would say is, I mean, when we first started getting in this industry almost 15 years ago now, for me, the most primary thing to know about our software is the platform with which we built our product. So I've been preaching for 15 years, cloud-based mobile application, being on the latest platforms. I think it is so critically important that one of the main features of the product is its ability to move forward in cloud and mobile technology. And so if you're in a product where the vendor's not even talking about that, and I would suggest today, some of our biggest competitors are still on-prem desktop type computers, and we're still seeing people buy those today. I mean, I understand people are selling them, they're buying them, and it just does not make any sense that these desktop products are simply not built for mobile technology and large scale future type thinking. And so even today, I still would suggest, I think the primary thing that people need to look at when it comes to technology is, what is the platform? Is that vendor thinking forward? Are they looking forward? Are they looking for the latest, greatest technology? Or are they stuck in 20-year ago type stuff? And I think that's a really, really important thing to answer. Now, the one thing that I will say, 15 years ago, people that bought into cloud technology, they thought it was sort of a cool concept. So maybe to some degree they thought, man, I'm really forward thinking by going in that direction. But that was not by and large the popular thinking. Today, we're dealing with clients that demand cloud technology. If you go back 10 years ago, I would say 80% of every client we had was in our cloud, and it's pushing the upper 90s right now. It is rare that we come across somebody that is looking to buy and house inside their building. It's just such commonplace knowledge that it is more affordable. It's easier to deal with. People know what cloud is now. I don't have to sit here and make the arguments that I made 15 years ago where people didn't understand this stuff. they now know it. When we get IT people in the room, they're like, I want that one right there. I want that one because it's less work on me. I don't have to maintain any infrastructure to support that product. I know it will be up to date. And people now, by and large, understand it is a more affordable way to go. And that is not an argument I have to make anymore. So, my job becomes giving them more technology, doing more things, trying to make it more affordable as we go along. That becomes the goal, but it's not the heavy lifting that it used to be. Hopefully I answered your question somewhere in there.
I think so. And I mean, the thing that I remember, 15 years ago when I was working in a room, was that we had PDAs back then. And PDAs were pretty much kind of cutting edge technology for evidence managers at the time. But you still have to take that PDA, do your work on the PDA, and then sync it back to the database. The thing that is revolutionary about cloud technology and mobile apps is that you don't sync anything. Every action is immediate. Yeah. Everything that you do happens in real time. There is no lag, and there's no potential lag in the accuracy of your system because it's 100% real time. And I don't think that we can underscore the importance of accuracy with our data. Data accuracy equals data integrity. If it is not accurate, it has no integrity. And that is something that both cloud computing and mobile applications have resolved for us, is we don't have to go sync something with the server and pray that it got right. We have it in real time. So
one thing I'll add to that real quick is I think another word you sort of tossed in there is real time. Doing things as close to real time as possible. And I would argue, I think things are better. They're more in line when you're doing things in time. So, like, for example, 15 years ago, everybody had their police officers coming back to the police department, going to the evidence room, and they were entering their evidence down there, whether it was on pen and paper or even on a digital system. That's where it took place. And now with the mobile technology we've developed, we're starting to see officers out in the field taking pictures and doing real-time data entry to where it's easy to argue the best chain of custody is the one that most accurately reflects the exact moment in time that thing did occur. And so that's why I will say I appreciate immensely that the people I deal with now are way smarter than what they were 15 years ago. I mean, I really had to sell 15 years ago this idea of cloud-based stuff. And now today, like, they come in demanding it. They understand what it means. They understand a lot of the terminology that I'm throwing out here. And that makes me very happy because I've always believed the smarter, more intelligent our client is, the more our product is going to stand out from the others.
I'll tell you another little fun application. Like I ran crime scene and property evidence. A lot of people have to do both. But when we would work homicide, it was pretty much all hands on deck. One of the things I loved about the technology that we had, which was the old version of Tracker, is even then I could go out to a homicide scene and we could process evidence in real time. We had remote label printers. We had everything we needed at our fingertips to process in real time. You don't understand the benefit, or you do understand, that being able to package, label, get all that stuff taken care of in real time is an incredible, not only force multiplier, but an active agent to preserve the integrity of the evidence in storage. It is incredibly important we take care of our evidence from cradle to grave. Best way to do that is to have technology that facilitates that process from the beginning. So let's switch gears a little bit. I know we're probably running through time. We spent a good 5 or 10 minutes stalled out with an awkward audio pause. And honestly, folks, that was intentional. The reason that I stalled the cameras out and garbled the audio and made us call in on Ben's cell phone here in his kitchen, and we're still sitting too awkwardly close to one another, was to teach you a point about technology. I don't know what that point is, but whatever it is, I hope it impacts you deeply. I hope that you get that point and apply it to your operation.
I was sitting here waiting for what that point was going to be, so I just want you to know I'm like everybody else, where I'm like, wow, this is really fantastic. What is that point?
It was a great lead, but there's nothing there. There's no substance there whatsoever.
I'll give you a point on that. I think even the greatest technology, there are problems out there. So let me lead to this one. The one thing that I think our clients appreciate the most about cloud technology is when there is a problem, they generally don't have to deal with it. So, like for example, I mean, our product has problems like any other problem that's out there. We try to minimize that, but if there is a problem with our product, especially if it's down, we would post a message on the login screen saying, "Hey, we're on it." And that gives people a large level of comfortability. I don't have to track down my IT people. I know somebody is handling this. And that probably is the primary beauty of cloud-based technology is ultimately it's outside of your building. It's generally outside of your worry. Our job is to keep the thing up and running. And so, all technology is going to have problems. How those problems are resolved is really important.
It also does kind of go back. I mean, even though it was an unintentional lesson, it's not just great software that matters, it's also having an infrastructure. Mm-hmm. It's having enough bandwidth, it's having enough Wi-Fi strength, it's having enough data, a big enough pipe for your data to fit through for everybody. That is incredibly important. I mean, normally when I'm doing my broadcast, I've got a lot more bandwidth than I've got here at a kitchen table. So I have fewer latency problems. And if you've got like a gig of fiber optic internet connection, things are going to be less problematic for you. One of the things that I find is when I go to an agency and they've got new technology, a lot of times it's not the technology that's the problem, it's their infrastructure. If you don't have Wi-Fi in the back nook and cranny of your evidence room and you're trying to do things on a cell phone or a mobile platform, the problem is that it doesn't work. That doesn't mean the underlying technology is bad. It means there's another underlying issue that needs to be addressed. And one of the things that I try to do on my end is help people understand the global nature of technology and how it impacts their operations. How if they don't improve their Wi-Fi, this new software that they purchased is not going to help them the way they think they need it to help them. So anyways, we can talk about problems again all day long.
Well, the other really bit of good news is I'm not running all of our infrastructure inside my house here where we're having all these problems. We are on Amazon or Microsoft Azure, massive platforms with untold amounts of bandwidth and infrastructure. So there was a day 20-something years ago where I did have a server in my house, but no more.
Yeah, when we dialed up to get online today here at Ben's house, we knew it was going to be a challenge. But let's talk about the future of evidence management technology. Hopefully you can see.
Specifically with our product.
Let's see. Oh, I hope they can see the screen.
I think everybody can see the screen, yeah.
Okay. So tell us about the next 5 years for Tracker Product.
Okay. Well, specifically, there is a reality that we are never happy with where we're sitting at. We are constantly, and that is daunting sometimes because you never get to a point where you're like, oh, wow, this is finished and all is good. We are constantly pushing forward with what we're doing and making things better. So for us, very specifically, we do have a 5-year plan in place of major technology milestones we do want to accomplish, but way more specifically, we're in the middle of a 1-year push where we are investing over $1 million directly into our technology. That's not $1 million into our company that supports sales or marketing or whatever other function. We are putting $1 million directly into our product. We have recently brought on some new clients that are really, really large organizations. In fact, they are really well-run large organizations, and it's forcing us to take a look at how we do what we do. How do we serve what is a really, really large evidence operation, but also, as we always do, build this out so that it works for everybody. We don't have different versions of our products running around depending on the size of your agency. It's one product for everybody. So, for the last couple of years, we've had a bit of a slowdown when it comes to development because we've been investing in other areas of our company, investing in the Evidence Management Institute to get this up and running. But now, for the next 365 days, we have more than doubled our development infrastructure. So the number of people that we employ to do development has gone from 6 up to right now, if you include our QA group, we have 15 people that are involved in development, QA, and production release of software. So for anybody on here that is our client, the next year you're probably going to see more development, more updates, more things coming out than you've seen probably since we released the safe product over 5 years ago now. This is, I would certainly argue this next year will be the largest development push we have ever had in our history.
Yeah, I think I've looked under the hood too, and I think that the types of changes that they're talking about making over the next 12 months are going to help their product scale. And I think anybody, I guess let me figure out how I want to phrase this. It's easy to help an agency that is struggling with evidence management. It is easier to help them improve their operations than it is to help an agency that is excelling at evidence management to improve their operations. And I think the cool thing to me about Tracker's commitment for the next 12 months is at the end of this 12 months, they not only want to be able to take a struggling client and make them better, but they want to take a client that is running optimally and improve their performance to the same level. And I think that with the stuff that's under the works or in the works right now, I think that that's going to be possible. I think that's going to be cool. It's going to be worth talking about.
Yeah, we're looking at, I don't even know how many people on here would be existing clients of ours, but we're looking at every area of our product and simply saying, how can we improve that and make that even better than what it is? And so I just, one thing that sort of pops into my head here is, with our existing software product, there's a bit of a limitation on how many transactions you can run at one time. We're aiming for being able to process 100,000 items in pretty much one fell swoop. And so that you have to look at every area of your technology in order to be able to pull something off of that scale. Now, understandably, most people that would be listening don't process 100,000 items at a time, but it would be really nice, regardless of how many items you want to process, you can just click a couple buttons and you're off and running with something that is significantly improved over what you had.
Yeah, there's lots of fun things coming up.
Yep.
Got to look at the time too. We could continue to talk about that. I would just encourage y'all to keep looking at Tracker Products website.
Yep.
As they update things, they'll let you know. We'll have them back on. You can check out, they do their own webinars and podcasts and whatnot. So check out their website, follow their progress. I think you'll be suitably impressed. Let me flip over to probably the best way to learn about new things happening at Tracker Products. We originally conceived this as a virtual lunch and learn, but it didn't happen that way. Heck, we barely even made it into a podcast today. But we endeavored to persevere, adapted, and overcame. But Tracker's coming up with a cool way to get their message out to new folks as well. You want to talk about that, Ben?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are, our sales team is doing regional lunch and learns where we're going to be in different areas of the country. You can check out trackerproducts.com/lunch to sign up to receive information about those. I don't know that they are posted yet as far as where those are going to be located, but it's something where we're going to buy lunch for people and ask them to come in, and we'll do a demo and a bit of an overview of how we go about doing what we do. Now, I will say these are going to be very different than just your standard normal demos. Our objective as a company is to impact your operations significantly, making it better significantly. So we are definitely looking to come out and show people not just how software makes their operation better, but how we go about impacting every area. And that's one of the things, Shawn, I've appreciated about our partnership with you, is it's allowed us to get beyond software, because I think it is so unbelievably important that we look at every area of an operation to see where we can make improvements. I believe that evidence management software is one of the largest areas we can impact, but I think it takes a holistic approach. So when we do these lunch and learns, we're going to be talking about a much larger perspective, software being an important aspect of that.
I think that'll be cool. So let Tracker take you to lunch. If you want to sign up for a free lunch and for some information about Tracker's technology and evidence management in general, go ahead and look them up at trackerproducts.com/lunch. So you can sign up there, tell them that you're interested, and literally they'll take you to lunch remotely, but it'll still be on their dime. So anybody have any questions? The one thing I know we can do is filter questions. We still have access to questions.
I'd like to point out real quick, we've only had one response to the Skyline Chili, and I don't know that we're trying to keep score, but at least somebody's in disagreement so far. So yeah. That's one person has been in disagreement.
I'm not going to call that person out. I mean, it's okay to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. So we have a question from Russell. Do you have a product that would help organize an inventory like quartermaster equipment?
Yeah. So my answer to that one is our product does not specifically handle quartermaster. We have specifically decided to stay focused on evidence. We believe we can have the biggest impact for an organization when we're not trying to get into a bunch of different areas. I know that there are plenty of systems out there that also handle quartermaster, but we have specifically focused on evidence management, and all the tools and everything we build is for that. So the answer is very quickly, we do not delve into quartermaster. I know there are some people that have used our products to sort of dovetail off into that, because it is tracking, but I would suggest, like an RMS system could not claim that they do what we do for evidence management. I don't want to try to claim that we really are going to be a very effective quartermaster system.
And honestly, I think that's kind of the best approach. I mean, that's why we don't see RMS systems that are awesome at dealing with evidence. It's that hedgehog principle. I mean, stick to what you know, do what you know the best you can possibly do it. If you can do it better than anybody else, even better. But when you start getting into areas that aren't your expertise, it's evident in the execution. So thanks for the question. Oh, we have some more chili responses.
Yeah, we're starting.
No to cinnamon, yes to beans. I believe Russell's in Florida, where they might put beans in their chili.
Okay.
But that's verboten.
And the good news is, to each his own. For those that do want to eat Skyline in Cincinnati, more power to you. It's not a hill that I am willing to die on. That is for sure.
Well, for me,
you're willing to die on that hill.
I'm willing to die on the chili hill.
Okay.
So, any questions before we kick off here? Thanks for staying tuned with us through our technical difficulties. You can no longer see our smiling faces, but that's probably okay too. I would encourage you to tune in next time. It's a little tentative, but I believe it's going to be October 14th. And I can't advance the screen because it's...
Okay. That's not my bandwidth.
There we go.
No problem. There we go.
We're going to talk about something of vast importance, October 14th-ish. I actually might be out of town on a job, so we might have to reschedule the next one. But right now it's scheduled for October 14th, 2021, 2 p.m. Central. Again, we're going to be talking about something of vast importance. So without any further ado, we'll be back on November 11th. Thank you for tuning in. I'm going to hit the stop this podcast bar.
Thanks, everyone.
If I can find it. Thanks for having me in your house, Ben. And
absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.